All right, everyone, buckle up because winter is gearing up for a fierce comeback across North America. I'm not talking about a weak cold front or a harmless dusting of snow. I'm talking about a full-blown return of winter with biting wind chills, powerful Arctic air, and heavy snow that'll remind you fast that November doesn't play around. Now, over the next few minutes, I want to walk you through exactly what's unfolding, not just over the next 5 to 7 days, but what's waiting beyond that window. Because what's lurking just past this calm stretch could completely flip our weather pattern on its head. And for those watching from Canada, consider this your heads up. You're sitting right in the crosshairs of what's brewing up north. Let's dive straight in this morning. We saw some wild winds tearing through British Columbia, gusts nearing 100 miles per hour at the Chester Lake Dam. That's hurricane force wind, absolutely no joke. The Pacific Northwest has been taking a beating lately, and honestly, this is only the beginning of what's stacking up. For the next several days, much of the U.S. will stay relatively quiet. We're in what meteorologists call a zonal flow, the atmosphere moving west to east in a smooth, uneventful pattern. A couple of smaller systems will slide into the west coast, bringing a few rounds of rain for California, Oregon, and Washington. Nothing major, but worth noting down south though. I'm tracking a subtle feature developing near southern Florida and the Bahamas. A weak trough that could push some showers toward the Carolina coast early next week. Doesn't look intense, just light rain brushing through. Right now, the U.S. is in a breather phase before the atmosphere turns. The dial again, by the way, if you'd like a detailed forecast for your specific region or city. Drop it in the comments below, and I'll get back to as many as I can. And if you're enjoying this update, make sure to like the video and subscribe. It really helps the channel grow. Now, shifting north, a system is sliding out of New England this morning, leaving behind some lingering showers, gusty winds, maybe a few snowflakes atop the higher peaks before clearing out tonight. But behind it, a fresh burst of energy is already loading up over Alaska and Western Canada, and that's what's about to trigger our next major pattern shift heading into the weekend, a deepening. Trough will carve southward across central and eastern Canada, and as it intensifies, I'll start dragging Arctic air down behind it. That's when we'll begin to feel the next true blast of cold, the kind that cuts right through you, drives wind chills deep below freezing, and starts coating the northern tier in snow. If you're out West California, Oregon, Washington, or British Columbia, you're first in line. By Wednesday, expect widespread rain and storms across Northern California and Southern Oregon. Then another system barrels in Thursday into Friday. Soaking Washington and BC, it's going to be an active stretch with two back-to-back systems dumping rain and mountain snow. The rest of the country holds mild for a few more days. But after that 7-day mark, the calm breaks. Around days 8 to 10, the models start lighting up again, hinting at a powerful trough dropping into the upper Midwest, pulling down another surge of cold air and maybe even sparking a line of storms on its leading edge. Now, to be clear, we're not calling a guaranteed snowstorm yet. But as these systems start to merge and strengthen, the potential for a major pattern shift grows. This could be the setup that drags winter back in full force as we roll into mid-November. And if you're wondering where that cold air's been hiding, it's all bottled up in Canada right now, gaining strength. Multiple models show that Arctic reservoir deepening by the day. Once that jet stream dips south, it's game on. It could easily spill south and slam into the northern United States. And when it does, it won't just be chilly. We're talking about biting 20s, frigid 30s, and even single-digit wind chills in spots. For now, though, the next 5 to 7 days look relatively calm. Some rain for the Pacific Northwest, a few light showers brushing parts of the East Coast, and a slim chance of storms skimming southern Florida and Texas. But right after that, the atmosphere starts to shift fast. Beyond this quiet stretch, I'm seeing the makings of a new pattern that could unleash 2, maybe even 3 back-to-back storm systems slamming into the west coast and sweeping east. The timing isn't locked in yet. We're still about 8 to 10 days away. But this is how it starts. One storm, then another, and then the cold floodgates open wide. Now, I've seen plenty of chatter online about possible snow events or severe weather. Let's be clear. As of now, there's no major system threatening the U.S. in the short term. The National Weather Service agrees no significant severe weather expected this week, but don't get too comfortable. Because once that Pacific trough deepens and begins pushing eastward, the door swings wide open for Arctic air and potential snowstorms later this month, especially for the northern plains, the Great Lakes, and even parts of New England by mid to late November. Canada takes the first hit, with multiple rounds of heavy snow appearing increasingly likely across Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, Ontario, and Quebec. Meanwhile, the U.S. will be caught in a tug-of-war, warm ridges, building across the central and southern states while cold troughs dive down from the north. That blocking pattern will determine who ends up buried in snow and who stays mild. And get this, even the Dakotas might see their first flakes flying as that cold air pushes south. Not a big snowmaker, but a clear sign that the seasons are shifting in a hurry. Behind that system, conditions stay cool, damp, and gloomy for a bit. But the real story is the deepening cold to the north. You can almost feel the atmosphere tightening its grip. Onshore winds will crank across the northeast, pulling in moisture and dropping temperatures, meaning rain could flip to snow across upstate New York, Vermont, and New Hampshire as that low-pressure system drifts by. Then, just as that clears, the next surge of energy dives south out of the Canadian prairies. Meanwhile, Alaska gets absolutely hammered, a powerful low roaring off the coast with heavy rain and brutal winds. That storm energy then cascades down into British Columbia and Washington state, dumping mountain snow, drenching valleys with rain, and keeping the jet stream raging along the entire West Coast. Now, here's where things get really interesting. That Arctic high, that dome of brutally cold air over the ice sheet, is starting to nudge south. That's the key. It's not fully locked in yet. There is still some open water up north modifying the air mass, but the stage is clearly being set. Across the Northwest Territories and northern Canada, the deep freeze has returned. And when that happens this early, it's usually the spark that ignites major winter storm development farther south. And sure enough, models are picking up on it. The storm track remains active across the west into next week, especially around November 5th and 6th. With snow levels dropping, winds strengthening, and the entire atmosphere taking on a distinctly December-like feel weeks ahead of schedule, the GFS model is even hinting at something. Significant brewing across the Northeast, potentially an early season snow event for parts of Maine and upstate New York. It's still about a week away, so caution is warranted. But when multiple runs start flagging the same signal, you pay attention. And the setup? It screams potential. Warm, humid air surging north. Arctic cold, diving south. Something has to give. Earlier today, the GFS tried to blow up a massive coastal storm, racing it northeastward. The latest run still shows a powerful system forming. Could this be the first major snowstorm of the season? Possibly. Still early, but it's absolutely on the table. And it's not just the GFS. The European model shows the same cold. It's the same energy, just a slightly different track. When both major models agree on the pattern, even if the fine details differ, that's when it's time to sit up and pay attention. Because this looks legit. This could surge deep into the heart of the southeast, delivering the coldest air of the season so far. Out west, another round of snow will blanket the Pacific Northwest this weekend before a brief calm sets in. But the next system is already digging farther south, even showing moisture reaching into California. Yes, California. Maybe even a touch into Southern California next week. Most of the heaviest action stays north. But this one spreads rain inland toward the Rockies, may be dropping snow as far south as Colorado. And once that cold air sweeps into the plains, that's when the real suspense begins. Will it trigger a plains snowstorm? Too early to call, but one thing's for sure. The models smell a storm brewing. All right, if you'd like specific weather forecasts for your region or city, drop them in the comments below. I'll go through as many as I can personally. Commenting's completely free, and as always, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.